Okay, so this is now live. Now I got to go to the Facebook page. There we are. You and me on Facebook. And what I just need to do. There we are. You and me on Facebook. Oh no, it's not created one of those loops. Good. Oh no, it's not created one of those loops. Look at that. He'll beat me to it. Okay, so my friends, Hillel beat me to it and posted the link on the Facebook page already. So thank you so much, Hillel. Much appreciated. And want to say Boker Tov, good morning to everyone who's out there. We're going to get services going momentarily. I just got to get me a siddur. Okay. All right, again, Boker Tov, everyone. We're going to begin with a little bit of Modeh Ani because in times of stress and anxiety for all of us, it's good to remind ourselves the things we have to be grateful for. Modeh Ani lefanecha, melech chai v'kayam, shechechezarta bi nishmati bechemla, Rabba emunatecha, Modeh Ani lefanecha, melech chai v'kayam, shechechezarta bi nishmati bechemla, Rabba emunatecha. We rise now as we turn to page 6, and we begin with the Birchot Shachar with the morning blessings. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan l'sechvi ben alifkim ben yom uben laila. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shesani b'tzamo. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shesani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shesani ben chorin. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kefufim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam roka haaretz al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shesali kol tzorki. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechim et tzadek aver. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozer Yisrael b'gvura. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam oter Yisrael b'tifara. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanotein le'ayef koach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamavir sheina v'ahira tzometh v'necha me'elohim. Neina yom v'chol yom lechem lechesed arachami be'enecha v'nei ko'enu v'tikmenu chasadim tovim baruch atah Adonai gomel chasadim tovim le'amo Yisrael. Turn now to page 14 for Psalm 30. Mizmor shir Chanukat habayit leDavid aromim cha'Adonai ki delitan smachta. Leman yizamecha chavod v'lo yidom Adonai Elohai le'olam odeka. Turn now to page 15 for the Mourner's Kaddish. And just want to invite anyone who is currently reciting the Mourner's Kaddish to join with me. Page 15. Yitzkadal v'yitzkadash shemei rabbah ve'alma divrach hirutei ve'anlich malchutei v'chayechon uvyomechon u'chayei b'chol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'bizman kari v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mavarach le'olam lomei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha b'richu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Osei shalom b'mramav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Okie dokie. We're going to continue now with the Psukei de Zimra and opening with Baruch She'amar on page 16. And as we do that, I just want to invite anyone who wants to join us in the Zoom room if you want to. If you like the Zoom, that's fine. If you like the Facebook, that's fine. You know, we're an accepting and inclusive congregation. We accept all social media types here. Just saying. All righty, page 16. Baruch Shemar v'haya olam, Baruch Hu, Baruch Osev Reshit, Baruch Omer v'yoseh, Baruch Ozer Mekayem, Baruch Merechem al haaretz, Baruch Merechem al briot, Baruch Meshalem Sachatov li'reav, Baruch Chai la'ad v'kam l'netzach, Baruch Podei Matzil, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ha'el ha'rachaman ha'michlo b'fi ha'mo mishabachim for Rishon. Yachid Chei Haolami Melech Mishubakim for Adet Shmo Gadol Baruch Atah Adonai Melech Mechulal Batishbachot. May be seated as we turn to page 21 and we continue with Ashrei. Ashrei Shevetecha Od Yalu Chasel Ashrem Shekacha Lo Ashrem Shnail Havtila LeDavid Aromincha Elochai Melech Harachashim Chalei Olam Ba'ed V'chol Yom Aveh Kavod. Tilat Adonai Yadar Ber Pidi Dar Kavas Hashem Kachalelam V'Nachnu Rechem Yetzavet Elam. Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Hallelujah Nafshi Et Adonai. Adonai Shomeret Gerim Yatom V'Yamanai Yaded V'Derech Yishim Yaveit Yimloch Adonai Le'Olam El Hayatzion L'Dovador. Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Ki Tov Zomar Le'Hinu Ki Na'im Navatila. Mahagid Rav Yaakov, Hukav Mishpatav Yisrael, Lo Asachel Lachol Mishpatim Bal Yid'um. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Et Adonai min hashamayim, hallelujah, b'maromim. Hallelujah. Vayaran karen liamod tila l'chol chasidav, livnei Yisrael am krovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Shir Naishir Chadash Tilto Bichal Chasidim. Yismach Yisrael Basar. לאסור מערכיכם בזיקים ונכבדיכם וחבלי ברזל, לעשות בהם משפט כתוב, הדחו לכל חסידיו, הללויה, 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 וכיבזו הללויה, בירותיו הללויה. Hallelujah, b'tziltzlei shema, hallelujah, b'tziltzlei Torah, kol anshama tel el Yah, kol anshama tel el Yah, hallelujah, Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen, v'amen, Baruch Adonai Mitzion shechin Yerushalayim, hallelujah, Baruch Adonai Elohim Elokei Yisrael, osei niflot levado, Baruch Shem kvodo le'olam, v'yimlech v'dol aretz, amen, ve'amen. We now turn to the top of page 29 as we keep on rolling with Yishtabach, with your permission. We take it away. Yishtabach Shimcha Liad Malkeinu Ha'el HaMelech HaGadol Kadosh B'Shamayim U'Ba'aretz Ki Lecha Nanelu. Brachot v'odot me'etav yad olam Baruch atah Adonai El Melech Gadol b'tishbachot El odot Adon niflot Chabocheh b'shirei zimra Melech Hechei ha'olamim. Okay, just making sure there's no technical problems. Okay, everyone seems to still be there. Very good. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah v'yamad yivrach yutevim l'chmachutei b'chayechon v'yamechon v'chayecho beit Yisrael b'agala v'zman kari v'yimru Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam lo me'al maya yitbarach yishtabach yitpar v'yitamam v'yanaseh v'yitadav v'yitalev v'lal shmei d'kudashah b'richu le'elam min chober chatav v'shirata tush b'chatav v'nechmata damiran v'yamah v'yimru Amen. Rise now, if we're not already standing, as we turn to page 30 and continue with the Baruch Hu, the call to worship. Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or uvorei choshech osei shalom uvorei et hakol. May be seated. I'll call you. Ha'me'ir la'aretz v'ladin l'racham rachanim uv tuvo madesh b'chol yom tamim b'sev reshit ma'rabu masechad ma'in kulam b'chachma asita. Tit barak sureinu malkeinu v'goel leinu v'rei kadoshim yishtabach shimcha liyad malkeinu yitim yishatim yishtabach. Kulam ahuvim, kulam borim, kulam giborim, v'kulam osim be'ema uveraton kanam, v'kulam potim et behem tushav Torah, b'shira uvzimra, umvarchim b'shabchim, farim maritzim matishim umamlichim, et shem ha'el ha'melech ha'gadol ha'gibor v'amra kadoshu. V'chulam mekablim alechem ol malchut shamayim zeh mizeh v'notnim reshut zeh lazeh lakishatam menachat ruach b'sefra v'rav makadosh kulam kechadanim v'yomrim yira kadosh 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 Adonai tzvaot melech ha'aretz kevodo. V'alfani v'chayot ha'kodesh b'rash gadol mitnasim lumat tzrafim u'mitam meshabtim ve'omrim Baruch kevod Adonai min kamol el baruch motitena l'melech ha'chai v'kayam zot. Or Chadash Tzion Te'ir V'Niskeichu Lana Mehera Le'ero Baruch Atah Adonai Yotzer HaMe'orot Ahava Rabba Ahavtanu Adonai Eloheinu Chem Lavinu. V'havienu l'shalom me'aba konfot ha'aretz v'tolichinu k'miut le'artzenu ki el pavel yishvot ata uvanu v'charta mikol v'lashon v'kiravtan l'shimcha godsela b'met l'odot l'cha echet hava baruch atah Adonai havocher b'yamo Yisrael be'ahava Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha V'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha v'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uv'shachbecha v'kumecha ugshar leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot beinecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvihish arecha v'haya im shemot tishma. Adonai Elohechem Emet. It's even a hundred. L'dor v'ador hu kayam u'shmo kayam v'chisan nachon u'malchuto v'emunato le'ad kayamet u'drav chaim v'kayamim nemim nechmadim la'adamei olamim al Emet she'atahu Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu Malkeinu Melech Avoteinu Golenu Goel Avoteinu Yotzreinu Tzurishvatenu Podenu Matzilenu Melem Shemecha Ein Elohim Zulatecha Ezrat Avoteinu Atahu Me'olam. Top of page 35. Magain U'Moshiel Livnechem Achechem B'chol Dor Vador Barum Olam Moshe. Tehilot le'Elyon Baruch Hu Mvorach Moshe v'nei Yisrael lecha anu shabbos simcha rabba v'yamru chulam mi chamocha ba'olim Adonai mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh norah tilot osefeh shira chadasha shibechu geulim l'shimcha al sfatayam yachad kulam hodu b'him lichu ve'ameru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed to Yisrael, Kuma be'ezrat Yisrael, Uvdech mimecha, Yehuda v'Yisrael, go aleinu Adonai tzvaot shemo, Kadosh Yisrael, Baruch atah Adonai, Kal Yisrael. We now turn to page 36b. Invite everyone to please rise if you're not already standing for the opening blessings of the Amidah. We join together through the Kaddish, and you're on your own for the rest of it, using this space however you wish. Just want to mention, since Tachanan does follow right away, that we are actually not only serving a minyan for our daily minyan, but we also have a mourner with us. Bennett Wolk is with us, and sadly, Bennett's wife, Lily, passed away this week, and we had the funeral a few days ago. Lily was a wonderful, amazing, gracious, kind, loving person. And one of the ways in which we acknowledge our mourners when they're part of minyan is we don't say Tachanan. So no rushing to Tachanan as soon as the Amidah is over, as we are skipping Tachanan today. Just wanted to mention. Okay, page 36b, join in if you wish. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Hakol V'Zocher Chasdei Avot Umevi Goel Livnei B'Nehem L'man Shemo B'Yahava Melech Ozer Fokei Moshiach Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ufokei Tzara Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayim Mitim Atav Rav L'Hoshia Shifaruch Mrida Gashem Mechalkel Chaim B'Chesed Mechayim Mitim B'Rachamim Rabim Somech Noflim V'Rofech Cholim U'Matir Asurim U'Mekayem Emunato L'Shenei Afar Michamocha Bal Givurot U'Midam Elach Melech Memit Mechayim Matzmiach Yeshua V'Ne'eman Atah L'Achiot Meitim Baruch atah Adonai Mechayei HaMeitim. Nekadesh et Shemcha B'Olam Kashem Shemati Shimato B'Shmei Marom Kakatzu Vayad V'Viecha V'Karazeh El Zev Yamar. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzvot, Melchol Aretz Kevodo, L'Matam Baruch Yomeru. Baruch Kevod Adonai Min Kamo, Divrei Kochacha Katzuv Le'mor. Yimloch Adonai Le'olam Elohai Tzion L'dor Vador, Hallelujah. L'dor Vador Negigo Lechat Netzat Netzachim Kedushatcha Natish, V'Shivchacha Elohim Ripinu Lo Yamush Le'olam Va'ed, Ki HaMelech Gadol V'Kadosh, Atah Baruch Atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, v'yamad divrach yutei v'mlich malchutei v'chayichon v'yamechon v'chayich v'beit Yisrael b'agalav v'zman kariv v'yimru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mavarach le'olam l'mei maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitbar v'yidamah v'yinaseh v'yitadav v'yitalev v'lal shmei d'kudisha b'richu le'elam min kol b'chata v'shirata tishb'chata v'nechmata damiran b'yamah v'yimru. Amen. All right, my friends. Okay, time to sit for a sec. In lieu of our Torah reading, we do a little bit of Torah learning. So we're going to say the blessing for Torah study, do a little bit of learning, and then we're going to conclude with the Mourner's Kaddish to Rabbanan on page 13. I'll often invite people if they want to just take a moment and kind of think of an intention, think of who you want to send this Torah love to, if you will. During this time right now, the build up to the election itself, and the days that have since followed, my kavanah is what my kavanah has been the past couple of weeks, which is, I really hope and pray that as the election unfolds and as the results unfolds, that we're all able to take in and truly hear these election results for what they represent, what they say, and understand and be willing to look at the other, not so much as enemy, but simply an opponent, when we differ. And so we can see their humanity and the fullness of who they are. This is my hope. This is what I've been praying for. Let's see how it works. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. You are God, the source of all life, and we're grateful for the flow of life that brings us to moments like this, where we can learn, where we can study, and hopefully figure out how to do human better. Amen. Okay, so we are in Parshat Vayera, chapters 18 through 22 of the book of Genesis. Terrific Torah portion, amazing stories within it, and among them being the tale of Sodom and Gomorrah, the Akedah, the binding of Isaac. Like I said, some good stuff. Today, though, what I want to focus on is before the tale of Sodom and Gomorrah, we have these three beings. They appear just as people, but clearly we see that they are messengers from God. Walk by Abraham's tent, he rushes out and he brings them in. And here's what the Torah portion says. That he said, "My lords, if it please you, do not go past your servant. Let a little water be brought. Bathe your feet, recline under a tree. Let me fetch a morsel of bread that you may refresh yourselves, and then go on, seeing what you have come to your servant's way." They replied, do as you have said. So Abraham says, look, let me get you a little morsel of bread. And he brings them in. And then, right, he prepares a full-on meal, right? He goes, he gets some bread, he gets a lamb slaughtered and all of this stuff, and he prepares a feast, and then he waits upon them. He doesn't join them. He simply waits upon them. And so the rabbis teach about this, that one learns that the way of a tzaddik is that one should say little and do much, right? That a truly righteous person understands that it's easy to talk, but it's much harder and ultimately more important to do, right? And we all understand that. It's easy. We have the expression, people talk a good game, right? But where we really judge people is when their talk actually manifests and turns into action. Okay, will you guys stop mucking about in the chat here? Anyway, sorry, that's just a little thing to throw out to the Facebook people who want to join and see the kibitzing that goes on in the chat room in the Zoom. Oh, yeah. Anyway, actually, what I'm going to do, so I'm going to close that so I don't even have to see it right now because I get distracted and start laughing. Anyway, so I think we all understand, why it is that the rabbis would jump on an instance like this where Abraham says very few words, but then ends up doing a lot as a way of setting a paradigm for what a righteous person should be, right? Righteous person is one who doesn't focus so much on what they're saying, but they're out there doing. And then the rabbis pick up on this and they play with it a little bit more, because there's this wonderful quote in Pirkei Avot from Shammai that I want to share. And Shammai teaches the following. And this is in the first chapter of Pirkei Avot in Mishnah 15. Shammai says, make your Torah study a regular habit, say little and do much, welcome every person with a smile. So I want to look at these three things, right? Make your Torah study a regular habit. Why? I think fairly straightforward. There's a lot of different answers, but some fairly straightforward answers might also say things like, well, look, if you don't make it a regular habit, right, then your connection to Torah, your connection to the divine, your connection to that which is one of the primary sources of holiness for us within Judaism, or a way of connection, is lost. And if we don't make it a regular habit, then it becomes, by definition, an irregular habit. It's something that we do every now and then, and we don't do it as much, and then we potentially lose the connection. We understand that in order to really do something and do something well, consistency is often an important thing, an important element of it. So we understand why it is that making Torah study a regular habit would be important. And then we have say little and do much, right? And this, by the way, I think plays into it as well, right? Because once you make your Torah study a regular habit, ideally, one understands that there is much to do, that we should be like Abraham, sitting metaphorically at the opening of our tents, looking out for the opportunities to do, looking out for the opportunities to reach out to people and to be there for others. However, even that's not enough. Even though the regular Torah habit provides the base, and we understand that from that base, the importance of getting out there and doing, but you still got to smile, right? As Shammai teaches, welcome every person with a smile, right? Because it's not just enough to study the righteous stuff, and it's not just enough to do the righteous stuff. Our affect, who we are, how we approach people, even before we speak to them, is also important, right? Being able to greet people with a smile is a way of saying, I am open here. I am present to you. I am engaging with you, right? We haven't been smiling much. Now, some people may say, we haven't had much to smile about. And I understand. It is an anxious, tense, and troubling time that we're in. And yet, I think understanding this rabbinic teaching and Shammai's expansion of it is one of the ways that we ourselves can respond. We can respond by doubling down and making sure that we're connected to our tradition, right? Connected to sources of wisdom that enable us to have the perspective to navigate such times. I think it's important that we stop talking so much, because I don't know if you've noticed, but a whole bunch of the talking that's going on right now is not particularly healthy or helpful. A lot of our talk is actually quite rancorous. We have to focus on not the talking, but the doing. What is it that we can do, right? People think that there are problems within our society, problems within our community. I get it, and I feel that as well. But let's stop talking and arguing about those things so much, and perhaps focus on the thing that I can do, that you can do. It might be a small thing. It might be volunteering once a month at a food pantry or something like that. But do, and try not to talk so much. And on top of it all, smile. Let's try to smile. Because while things are difficult, our ability to smile not only impacts us, right, but it impacts the other and impacts how we interact with them. And when interactions right now seem to be so fraught, I think it's incumbent on all of us to do what we can to make those interactions as positive as possible. And as goofy as it sounds, and as simple as it may be, starting with a smile helps. Because that also then becomes indicative, ideally, of the attitude that we're carrying within us towards that other person, and allows that other person, hopefully, to smile back at us. And I don't know about you. I know we're all wearing masks, and some of you are thinking, Rabbi, we can't see each other smile through the mask. That's not true. You can see a smile through a mask, because a smile isn't just a mouth that's upturned, but a smile is a whole face. And it's not even a whole face. It actually also sometimes radiates right through the body and the body posture and how we radiate ourselves out into that world. So a little bit of Shammai to help us on our way and to give us a little direction, and a little bit of hope maybe for what we can do and how our world can unfold before us. All righty, my friends, we're going to conclude this with Kaddish de Rabbanan, and invite anyone who's currently reciting the Mourner's Kaddish, who's observing the outside, and really just anyone who just in acknowledgement of our Torah study would like to say the Kaddish, you may do so. It's really open to anybody. One of the reasons why I like doing this Kaddish at the end of a study is not only because I think, I can get a little bit OCD. I like to bookend things. If you open with a blessing, it's nice to close with some holy kind of blessing of some sort. But beyond that, this is a moment as we recite the Kaddish or as we hear it, for us to pause and say, okay, what did the bald guy just say? And how am I going to make that real? This is our moment of pausing before we just kind of rush on off with Ashrei, to kind of say, let me take a sec and ask myself, what's the one thing I'm going to take from this learning that I'm going to bring into my day? That's also what this Kaddish allows. It allows us that moment of pause and reflection. Page 13. Yitzgadal v'yitzkadash shemei rabbah ve'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon u'vyamechon u'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'vizman kari v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam lo maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitmaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudisha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata d'amiran be'alma v'yimru. Amen. Al Yisrael v'al Rabbanan v'al Tamidehon, v'al kol Tamidei Tamidehon, v'al kol man da'askim baraita, diva tra haden v'diba kol atar v'yatar. Yehei lechon lechon shlama rabba, china v'chista v'rachamin, v'chayin arichin u'mezana revicha, or furkanam min kadam avahon divishmaya v'yimru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim tovim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. Osei shalom b'ramav hu b'rachamav yasei shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. All righty, my friends, we jump on forward, page 78, Ashrei. Ashrei shevetecha od yalucha sela, Ashrei shekacha lo, Ashrei shnai l'chav tila l'David. Tilat Adonai Darber Pi Vivar Kavasar Shem Kucholelam Ve'ed Vanachnu Rechiam Yetzavidalam. Hallelujah. We jump to page 80 as we are acknowledging ourselves as to be somewhat in a house of mourning, as we want to acknowledge Bennett and the loss that he's had and he and his family's had this week. Uva Litzion Goel Ul Shofei Feshakov Num Adonai V'yata Kadosh Yoshev Tilat Yisrael V'karazeh Elzeh Ve'amar Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzvot, Melech Kol Haaretz Kevodo. Vatisaeni ruach v'shmai chorai korash gadol. Baruch kavod Adonai min kamo. Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed. Vayivdechu v'chayidei shemecha ki lo azato doshecha Adonai Adonai chafetz aman siko yagil Torah v'yadir yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabba v'yamad divrach yutei v'mlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yamechon v'chayedecho beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kari v'yimru Amen Yehi shmei rabba mavarach le'olam l'me'al maya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitramah v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'tlal shmei dekudasha b'richu le'elam min kober chata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechmata damiran v'yamah v'yimru Amen. Titbel Sultan Baton, the place Israel, Kadam Honishmaya Vimru. Amen. Yehish Lama Rabba, Min Shamaya, the Chaimalim of Israel Vimru. Amen. Say Shalom, Bimramav, Huya say Shalom. Aleinu Yako Israel Vimru. Amen. Rise, page 83 for Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol latet gedula liotzer breshit shelo asanu kigei haratzot v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'tamam shelo sam chelkenu kahem v'gohor aleinu kechol hamonam v'anachnu korin u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech Malchei Hamlachim Hakadosh Baruch Hu Shehu Notei Shamayim V'Yoser Haaretz U'Moshav Yikaro B'Shamayim Ima'am U'Shchinatu Zo V'Govhei Meromim Hu Eloheinu Ein Od Emet Malkeinu Efes Zulato Kakahatu B'Torato V'Yadata Hayom V'Hashevota Elevavecha, Ki Adonai Elim b'shamayim ima'am, Yal haaretz mitachat, Einod al kein nekaveh l'chad me'elohim, lirot meherav. V'nemar v'chaya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. As we turn to page 84 for the Mourner's Kaddish, I want to acknowledge the art sites that people are in the process of observing today. Those are Paul Blumenthal, Richard Brooks, Marcel Hafey, Edward Lawrence Hausman, Diane Marks Levine, Hetty Bates, and Ada Silverton. If I've neglected anybody in terms of yard sites, I'm sorry, please share their names in the comment section. We now turn to page 84, and I'm going to ask everyone who's reciting the Mourner's Kaddish, either those observing yard sites or those like Bennett and others who are in the process of reciting the Mourner's Kaddish, to please rise and join with me. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'vyamechon u'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kari v'yimru, Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam lo me'almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudasha b'richu le'elah min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechmata da'amiran be'alma v'yimru Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru Amen. Osei shalom b'mramav hu ya'asei shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru Amen. All right, my friends, we have two songs with which we conclude our services this morning. The first is going to be on page 89, the psalm for today. Hayom Yom Chamishi B'Shabbat Shabo Hayu Halavim Omri B'Beit HaMikdash Lam Natzech Al Hagidit La'asav. V'sanei Adonai Shlo v'itam le'olam ya'atlechu mechelechita v'tzur davash aspieka. We now turn to page, not that page, to page 93 for Psalm 49, Psalm that we recite within a house of mourning. Lam natzech livnei korach mizmor, shimu zot kol ha'amim, hatzinu kol yoshvei chelem. Adam bikar v'lo yavin, nimshal k'mivot nidmu. Turn to page 100, where we conclude with the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divrach hirutei v'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yamechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kari v'yimru, amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach, le'olam lo me'al mayam. Yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitramam, v'yitmaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shmei dekudesha, b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiran v'alma v'yimru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru, amen. Aseh shalom b'mromav, huya aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru, amen. As we conclude services, just want to just a quick word for Bennett. Bennett, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Having met with you and having been able to meet with you and Sabrina and the family and just hear about Lily and to be honored to officiate and participate in her funeral. She was clearly just a true love of a woman who was so giving, so kind, and also just so much fun and really embraced life. So we hope that your time here in the Minyan and the days that have followed since the funeral and the days that come will be times when you can reflect on Lily, the memories that you have, the way she touched your life and how much she meant to you and everybody, and come to a place of comfort and peace. May God comfort you among all the mourners of Zion, Jerusalem, Bennett, and we all say, amen. To all of us, I want to wish a boker tov. I want to wish a good morning. What can I say? Study a little today, do more than you say, and smile, everybody. Just smile. All righty. Live, love, learn, everyone. Be well. Take care. I'm going to be stopping the live stream now. If anyone wants to join in the Zoom room for a few minutes and see the terrible comments they wrote about being regular or something like that, you're more than welcome to. Take care, everybody.